Hello everyone, I'm Tim Gilday, Senior Director of Emerging Tech at GDIT. I'm joined today by John Sahlin, Vice President of Cyber Solutions for GDIT's Defense Division, to talk about expanding Zero Trust capabilities at the edge to support military operations and the broader federal mission set. John, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So John, Zero Trust continues to make inroads across the mission space of our customers, and you've been on what some might describe as an exhilarating whirlwind tour. You've been out there helping our government agencies and our allies. So could you recap some of those fun or tiresome events, and then also tell us a little bit more about Zero Trust capability at the tactical edge?
Yeah, it's certainly been a little of column A and a little of column B for sure for the last year or so. So we've been working primarily in the Indo-Pacific area of operations to drive Zero Trust down to the tactical edge, which is a different set of considerations than Zero Trust at the enterprise in large data centers, because we're challenged by limited bandwidth and, frankly, the vast expanses of water that separates land operations from the rest of the enterprise. So you can't rely on all of the same assumptions that you have in a normal terrestrial environment with good access to data centers. So we've been working with the U.S. Army and Indo-PACOM in a number of exercises, Talisman Sabre in August, and then a follow-on exercise called Yamasakura. Talisman Sabre was in Australia. Yamasakura was in Japan. And we were demonstrating the ability to put a tactical Zero Trust capability in the hands of the U.S. warfighters to allow them to share mission data with our international partners, the Australian Defence Force, and then also with the Japanese ground forces. In addition, we were able to share data with a number of coalition partners on the fly, so not just those two, but also some partners of convenience, which is common in that area because there are so many smaller nations with whom we need to share our mission space.
Right, so then supporting our allies supports us in turn. So I'm glad you had
Absolutely.
That chance for fun, but also bringing more security to our national interests. So Zero Trust is essential to the DoD mission at the edge. How is Zero Trust at the edge critical to the broader mission set across a variety of customer domains?
So like I said, tactical edge Zero Trust, particularly in that region, is challenging because of the vastness of the region, but it's not unlike other civilian missions. For instance, humanitarian assistance and disaster recovery. I think back on my time, I actually participated in the Hurricane Katrina relief efforts as a reservist, and even though that was a military operation, we had to coordinate with the parish sheriff, we had to coordinate with the local hospital, NGOs like the Red Cross, in order to share mission data to support the overall humanitarian assistance mission. And this role is a role that, for instance, FEMA would execute. It's also a role similar to what for instance, a law enforcement operation, say FBI, would have to share data with local law enforcement and also first responders, perhaps also the intelligence community. So this type of mission where you can't always rely on solid internet connectivity to an enterprise data center, because in the case of a natural disaster, that data center might not even be there anymore. Or in the case of, for instance, a law enforcement mission, you might not want to project satellite connectivity back through the internet because you're trying to be discreet and hide in plain sight. So there are a lot of use cases where tactical edge in a disconnected or intermittent bandwidth mode is certainly something that we'd want to operate in, even outside of the military frame space.
Right, making that more repeatable and easy prevents alternate ways to abuse or attack that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the role of interoperability at the tactical edge obviously can't be understated. What role does Zero Trust play in that regard?
So Zero Trust is more than just a way to lock down data. Anytime people talk about Zero Trust, a lot of times they focus on, let's protect the data, protect it from the insider threat or the advanced persistent threat. And yeah, those are all great use cases. But Zero Trust is actually a key to secure mission sharing. It's not just a lock. So you can actually use the dynamic access control policies, the nature of Zero Trust, to make decisions at the transaction level about with whom I'm sharing data and under what conditions. And that enables the flexibility to do that interoperability on the fly. If I think back to, say, the humanitarian assistance mission, we may not have planned to share mission data with the local first responders or the hospital in the area. We may not have thought that Doctors Without Borders was going to be in the area. And we want to make a decision on the fly to share data with them. We can, and then we can control the conditions under which we share specific aspects of data with MSF, but not necessarily share the same data with Red Cross, as an example. So we can parse it out at that level of granularity. And that's what Zero Trust enables us to do in terms of interoperability.
I'm learning a lot here. I appreciate this, John. So I know that Zero Trust is a very nuanced, broad topic. You educate our teammates, our allies, our government customers, and beyond on this. And so it's hard to boil it down. But if I could ask you for any final takeaways to close the conversation, what would you zero in on?
Yeah, that's a heavy ask. So I think what I would say is the importance of a successful Zero Trust solution is to build a modular architecture. And this is important for a number of reasons. First of all, it provides the ability to take advantage of existing infrastructures wherever they may be on their overall Zero Trust journey. This allows us at GDIT to meet our clients wherever they are as they progress toward Zero Trust. It also provides the ability to start the journey. This is a large, complex undertaking, and it can take a long time to get there, quote unquote, and it can be an expensive endeavor, but it doesn't have to be. If you take it piece parts and field it little bits at a time, little modules at a time, and build capability bricks on top of each other, you can get there very quickly, and you can start to bite it off in little chunks rather than try to take the whole thing at once. And this same interoperability that I talked about in terms of how do you interoperate with mission partners on the fly, that's driven by that modularity, that modular architecture, and it allows us at GDIT to provide not only a Zero Trust solution based on what we can do, but interoperate with our other digital accelerator platforms to provide that holistic solution when it's necessary. It's never just about Zero Trust, because it's all about executing a mission, and the mission might require a hybrid multi-cloud environment. It might require a software factory. It might require other capabilities as well. So that modularity and interoperability with existing infrastructure and with our other digital accelerators is really critical to our success.
So it sounds like we have the ability to mix and match as needed, but I think one important piece that you hammered there was it can be incremental, it can be modular, because everybody's situation is different. We want to be able to adjust to that custom environment.
Yeah, I think the one piece that I would leave everyone with is, this is a long journey, but the most important thing is to start. Start somewhere, do something. Start with one capability brick. That's an important step, and move out from there.
Well, thank you very much, John. I really think that's a great place to close out our conversation today. I know it's just the beginning of a longer conversation. So for more GDIT expertise on Zero Trust, operations at the edge, and beyond, check out gdit.com/perspectives. Thank you.